CEO Wisdom podcast with Manish Agrawal today. He is CEO at Techment Technology, talking from Dallas to us today, originally from India and building a cool team there. We're going to talk about building a team in a small town like Manish did. We're going to talk about serving a lot of business and making a bunch of money in the process and giving back. Manish, welcome to the podcast. Tell us a bit more about yourself and Techment.
Thanks a lot, Charles. Pleasure to be part of your podcast today. So, a little bit about me. I started this company, Techment Technology, 10 years ago, exactly in 2013. And as you were mentioning, we were trying to build this small town model for Techment. So, in fact, that's how Techment got started in 2013. So, after spending 15 years away from home, I decided to kind of go back home and spend time with the family. Just quickly before that, before 2013, I finished my master's from Purdue, Indiana State, here in the US in 2004, and then I decided to go back to India primarily. At that time, I saw a lot of growth opportunities happening in India. So India at that time, the mobile phones were coming, internet revolution was happening. So I thought instead of to be a part of a country which is developing, I can get more opportunities to grow myself. It's like tiding along with like kind of growing, like going up along with the wave. So that's what I decided to go back to India. Did my first startup in e-commerce space in 2006. That company, after raising 2 rounds of funding, it got acquired in 2009 by a listed company in India. And then I continued with them for 2 years. And that gave me like my first experience of entrepreneurship, where I get to learn the different fundamentals of doing a business, of starting a technology company. And then 2011, I shifted back to my hometown, which is in central part of India. It's a small town known for it's a good education town. So we got a couple of good engineering schools in that town. And when I shifted back, like 2 years, I was just figuring out what to do next. And that is when I realized that uh, the engineering colleges are graduating engineers every year, but there's no local opportunity. So pretty much anyone who have to build a career in technology, they have to leave their family, they have to go to big cities to work for technology companies out there. And I found there is a set of people who would prefer to be at home, would prefer to support their family, but at the same time, they have the desire and even the capability to build a good technology career. And absolutely, there was no opportunity out there. So that's one opportunity which I saw. No, it's not just opportunity. I would say opportunity is not the right word. There's one need. There's more like a community need, which I saw that people, small towns, people want to be with family, but they need opportunities. They need opportunities to build a career. They need opportunities to do something good in their life. So that is how Techment got started. So the name Techment stands for technology mentor. So one part of Techment is how do we support these young technology graduates, help them build a career in technology. Second part is how do we build this small town IT ecosystem. And the third part, which is actually the business part, is how do we work with customers as a technology partner in helping them solve business challenges or to cater to business opportunities with the help of technology. So,
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
So the small town needs to be small, but not so small that you can't even gather 10 employees in one room. So I guess that you guys are based in Bhilai, right? That is
Yes,
the
it is
small
town
town.
name. Mhm.
Okay. What is the population of Bhilai? And what's your definition of a small town?
Yeah, so that's very interesting, Charles. So it's a small town definition in terms of India, I would say. So the population is roughly around 500,000,
Right.
500,000 is the population size, which is a small town in India actually. But if you compare to US, it might not be that small a town. But comparing like in Indian, typically in Indian geographical ecosystem, that's a small town. And you've made a right point. It's not such a small town that you can't gather 10, 10, 15 people as well. And it's not a huge town as well. It's not such a huge town, for example, in US like Silicon Valley or Chicago or New York. It's not such a big town. It's somewhere in between, actually.
Right, because this town is known for its steel plants that, yeah, the town signed an agreement with ex-USSR to produce steel. So I'm guessing they don't necessarily produce tech students. Is there a university in the town or nearby the town?
Yes. So the good part about the town, especially because of the steel plant, which is a public government-run steel plant. So they did set up a good education ecosystem. So they have got a good elementary, middle, high school ecosystem. At the same time, they've got good couple of like engineering schools. So because of the ecosystem, the students are graduating every year. So initially, the engineering schools were set up to serve the manufacturing industry. But with the time progressing, with the new, with the IT revolution, all these engineering schools, they did add computer science as the program. So students were learning computer science, but there was not opportunity because of the steel town, actually. So this opportunities are mostly manufacturing, but students were learning computer science.
Right, so that's like the magic microcosm there. So yeah, Indian Institute of Technology there. So
Yep.
some person decided it would be a good investment, but there was this loop in which that, yeah, they studied there, but then they had to go to a bigger city, for example, to leave for Bangalore. I don't know. What's in the state of Chhattisgarh, if I even know how to pronounce that.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good try. So you kind of fulfilled that whole, and I believe that to be genius, and that also means that you could decide of the pay scale there, which I guess would be lower than in other cities, and you could use that as some arbitrage. And obviously on your side, you could provide a missing part in their training, right? Like not only theory, but like a real training. You could have an internship program, and that's what I call an arbitrage right there for you. So that's pretty cool. And you also get to help the community, which is obviously win-win. Now the client side of things, how did you get to find these new clients, and how did you get to have these clients accept to deal with you and sign contracts with you if they, let alone, didn't even know where Bhilai was on the map?
Yep. So definitely that was one of the biggest challenge which we had when we started the company in 2013. If you go talk to customers or prospects saying we are operating out of small, like tiny little place on the map in the central part of India, they might get scared. So initial days, we even had a small office in like Bangalore, which is the Silicon Valley of India, just to tell to customers that we are a Bangalore company and will work for you. But slowly over a period of time, what we realized, Charles, that the story, or I would say the purpose of doing Techment really helped us build a trust factor with the customer. When we told to customers that the reason we are doing Techment, or our key main purpose or our main driver, is we want to enable that family ecosystem. We want to serve the community. At Techment, we have got around, in terms of gender diversity, we have got 60% females working with Techment. So when we told them that we are helping girls or women's come back to work, like more like return to work, continue their career, and on top of that, uh, the benefit of operating from a small town, it's not only the salary benefit, it's not only the cost arbitrage. The biggest benefit is the stability, and the stability comes from the culture itself. When an individual has that mindset of supporting family, he has that family culture, he has that value system. because of which he tends to stay with an organization for example, he tends to stay with Techment for a long period of time. So at Techment, our average retention rate is more than 90%, which a typical, like if you look at the IT organizations, average rate is around 75, 80%. So because of the entire setup, because of the entire culture and the value system, we're able to build a good stable team, and a good stable team actually translates into the quality of work that we can do for the customers and the entire purpose of doing the business. The combination of all those factors really helped uh, create a compelling story, which we can go and present to the customers. Really helped build the trust factor or win the trust of the customer. And that, I would say, that was the biggest factor, because of which we could acquire customers, because of which we could retain customers. So our typical not just a team retention rate, our typical customer retention rate is very high. So the customers are happy because they get a stable team, they get a good quality work, and definitely there's a cost arbitrage as well. But I would not say the cost arbitrage is the primary thing. The primary is the stability and the quality.
Right. How much lines do you have to this day?
So in total, over the past 10 years, we would have served around 34, 35 customers so far. As on today, we have got around 17 active customers or active SOWs, which we are currently working on with different customers.
It's pretty good. And these are big clients. Each accounts, do they hire some of your folks straight up? Do you also just deliver the service for them? What's the model here?
So the model is more value-based delivery. So we're not that we're just giving them human resources or software engineers. It's more about how do we work with them as a technology partner. We take the responsibility of technology delivery or solution delivery for our customers. So that's typically the model that we work with. In terms of in terms of the business size, our typical target market are small to mid-sized businesses. And that's one conscious decision that we made when we were starting Techment, because we really wanted to focus on the kind of value that we can create for our customers. So what we realized that if a small company go work for large companies, we may end up doing maintenance kind of work. So that is not too much of value delivery for a customer that we could do. So just to be on that higher end of the value chain, be a more valued partner for our customers, we made that conscious decision of working for more like small, mid-sized companies.
Right. And how much employees do you have today?
We have a total of 150 people team.
It's pretty big. And the clients, the average contract value, is it like 10K MRR per month or something around these lines?
It's a little higher than that. So the average would be around 25,000 MRR.
Oh, that's pretty high. 25K. So we're talking about, let's say, 500,000 per customer
Yep.
per year. So yeah, you've got like an $8 million business a year business. It's pretty good. Let's call it 50% profit margins, means you bring home around 4 mil or maybe a bit less on your side every year. Like when you started in business, you thought you would ever reach these levels and be wealthy?
So to be honest, when we started this business, it was like just started as a pure experiment, because we were dealing with too many variables. It was like a complete greenfield. There was absolutely no tier two success story in Bhilai. So we just started like we started more like a baby step approach. We'll just take one step at a time, see how it grows, see where exactly it's going to take us. So to answer your question straight, we did not even think whether that we'll be able to grow that much. When we started a company, it was just more to do an experiment to see whether the small town model can really work or not. So once the experiment becomes successful after 3, 4 years, when we started realizing that this model is working well, that is when we started thinking about growth. And now we're at a stage where we're very confident about this model. And I would say next 3-4 years, we really want to grow much faster from what we have done so far.
You think AI is negatively gonna impact you? Do you think it'll replace some of your team members?
I would think other way. I would say AI is positively going to impact, especially on the technologies, and not just technology. Pretty much any business. Even historically, that's what technology has done. Over a period of time, it has created more positive impact than the negative impact. It is definitely going to create positive impact, provided we as an organization are able to upskill ourselves, are able to adopt the new technologies, are able to deliver more value to customers using new technologies like AI, generative AI, machine learning, and that is what we are trying to do as well. So we just that's one more thing that we do at Techment. We are pretty very heavily learning focused organization. So we spend a lot of time, we invest a lot on on how do we continuously upgrade ourselves, how do we keep learning new technologies. So that is what we've been trying to do, and I'm pretty sure AI is the current trend, or the current wave of AI is going to create many more new opportunities.
Would you recommend young folks in India or in Philippines or in Latin America, where labor is cheaper, to start enough outsourcing business, like or nearshoring business as they call it, to basically be the middleman between the and slash profit from the arbitrage of this lower salary and what the Western world needs in terms of workers? Would you recommend them to do that? Because you're not the first guy that I speak to that got wealthy literally off starting a center in India or in Philippines, and just like giving the market what it needs. Would you recommend a new person to get into that business in this day and age?
Yeah, so one thing definitely, with the world being more and more flatter, uh, with the thanks to the technology, there's no geographical boundary, especially when it comes to work, when it comes to technology. There's not too much of geographical boundaries. So now work can happen anywhere, actually, right? So there is a lot of opportunity to play. My recommendation, and that is what we are trying to do at Techment, it's not to play on, not to just do a pure play cost arbitrage, and not to do a just pure play human, like what the typical word in IT industry is body shopping. So I would my recommendation to young entrepreneurs is to stay away from these two things, body shopping and cost arbitrage, because that's not going to go a long way. Because the cost arbitrage is always like there's someone else sitting out there who's going to like charge $1 less to get your business. So it's more about value creation. It's more about why we are doing business. The purpose of doing business is very important. The compelling story, and the value that the entrepreneur can deliver to the customers. So those things are like really, really important. Then so all those things are like shortcuts, Charles, I would say. The cost arbitrage, human resource arbitrage are like shortcuts to do a business. And I typically tell to whenever I get chance to advise any entrepreneur, and that's the first advice I got when I started my entrepreneurship journey. That entrepreneurship is not a sprint; it's actually a marathon. So you need to be prepared for the marathon, and that's where you need more muscle power. That's where you need not just one short thing. You need something which can really take you for a long term. Because as an entrepreneur, also it's sometimes it's like ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs. Sometimes it burns you down with not so many good things happening. So you need to keep yourself motivated. And how do you keep yourself motivated? Is to have a very strong, solid purpose of doing what you're doing.
Right. Well, In business, saving money is the quickest way to make money. So that's your niche. You can't really get out of it. You won't charge people $100 an hour, like that. That is one. But in your niche, you decided to go for quality, go for fidelity, go for like not having your resource burn out and replace them a couple months after they started, right? So you also went in the quality, and that is the smart thing about your company. And you also decided to niche out, for example, and other things like that. But yeah, people, especially in 2023, you can't compete just on prices, right? You need to compete on quality as well. You need to compete on an array of factor. I would strongly advise also like offshoring businesses to get very familiar on how to use GPT, and even to advertise that, like we use GPT, we are the equivalent of probably 3 or 4 devs, because we know how to use this AI tool, for example. It's like a hybrid between man and technology. So yeah, like I fully resonate with that. Question for you, Manish. What's in the plans this year for Techment? Where do you want to bring the company in these next 6 months?
Yep. So one important thing that we're doing is that's so far I was in India. Just 4 months ago, I moved to Dallas, Texas. So definitely now we are going to set up a team in the US as well. So one big objective for the next 6 months for me is establish our strong presence in the US. So we've started hiring team here. We've started building more deeper relationships with the customer, started expanding our network. So next 6 months is definitely can we have maybe 10 people team in the US? So that will be like a good successful Christmas for me, I would say. Like
Love
not
it.
successful Christmas, I would say. I'm sorry, I'll just rephrase it. That'll be a good Christmas gift for me.
Do you like Christmas, Manish? Because I also saw a Christmas video on your website and the About Us page.
Oh yes, so that's a a good thing with India is like so multicultural that we celebrate all the festivals. So
Well,
Christmas,
when we celebrate Christmas, like Westerners or anyone this well, I mean, me in my case, it doesn't have much to do with religion nowadays. Sadly, it has a lot to do with capitalism. But I mean, it's not that sad, because money is good. I believe, and gifts are good. Although, like, you can go pretty quick into overconsumption. But most importantly, reuniting in family, right? And having a good food, and socializing. So yeah, I'm a Christmas boy too. I love Christmas. I even listen to Christmas music 6 months before Christmas. And yeah, it's like you can imagine from Canada, it's like celebrating with the snow. And do you have snow in Dallas?
Dallas sometimes, so maybe 1 or 2 days in a year is when we get snow. But good thing with Dallas snow is because the city is not that well prepared for snow as compared to
Yeah.
like any other northern states.
Yeah,
So
you're not wishing
everything
for snow.
everything closes down during snow days actually. So that's a
Yeah.
good vacation time and good time to spend, and you get good time to spend with family.
Right, right. Well, nice having you today, Manish. Can you tell us where to find out more about you and TechMint?
Yep. So thank you, Charles. It was a pleasure having a discussion with you. To know more about TechMint, you can either find me on LinkedIn, or you can go to the TechMint website, which is simple www.techmint.com. TechMint as in technology mentor. So techmint.com.